A very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the Center for Distance and Online Education, lovely Professional University, it is a true pleasure to welcome you all the participants, for today's enriching masterclass, Mastering Git and GitHub, from basics to best practices. We are delighted to host our esteemed resource person, Mr. Gagandeep Sethi, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Applications for Professional Enhancement at LPU. With over a decade of experience in software development and project management, Mr. Sethi brings a dynamic blend of academic depth and hands-on industry expertise. His prior role as Senior Project Manager at Prometics Technology for over a 10-year experience, along with his continued efforts in mentoring students and facilitating industry relevant training, make him an exceptional guide for today's session. This masterclass is thoughtfully designed to equip you with a practical understanding of Git and GitHub, tools that are indispensable for modern software development and effective team collaboration. The learning that you will be having from this masterclass is that you will be having a nice grasp on the core concepts and advantages of version control using Git. You will be able to apply the essential Git commands and workflow in real-time scenarios. You will be able to collaborate effectively using GitHub's features for project management, and not that the least, understanding industry best practices and real-world use cases of Git and GitHub. So today, as an host for your today's masterclass, I will be here to guide the flow of event. And if I have to introduce myself, my name is Manu Sharma, and I will be throughout guiding you regarding any question answers. If you have, you can put up your questions in the chat box. You can interact with the resource person. You can in between have your question uh, for the session if you have. Okay. So I will be able to make sure that there is a smooth interaction and your experience is memorable with us. So without any further ado, I would like to invite a resource person, Mr. Gagandeep Sethi, to take the stage and lead us into the world of Git and GitHub. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a delightful introduction. Second. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So we are going to talk about Git and GitHub today. So I'm assuming that you all are well aware about the best practices of coding and how to manage the code through collaborations, and how do we host the code through repositories and through team. We'll discussing that today, right? So let me share my presentation. Okay, if you're able to see, uh, we will talk about mastering Git and GitHub from basics to best practices. This is basically designed for professionals so that while working on a software development
Please,
project.
your PPT is visible, but you are not visible.
One moment, ma'am.
Yeah.
Visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So GitHub is basically nothing. First, we'll talk about Git. So Git is nothing but a version control system. So first of all, you should know what is version control system. A system that keeps record of your changes, whatever the changes you are making in your code. Uh, the new version are coming when we are adding some new features or when we are fixing the bugs. So Eventually you have to trace back to see what were the previously changes you made on the code, and that is required the some sort of system which is known as version control. Users should keep entire code and a history on their local machines, allow for collaborative development. Collaborative development means when you're working on a code, obviously you and your team are working on the same code base. So you will be collaborating the same code base with your teammate or the another developer. So we will get to know how to add another developer who can work simultaneously along with us, and it will allow you to know who made what changes and when. And by showing up a particular log that this change was made by this user on this particular timestamp, it allows you to revert any changes and go back to a previous state. Let's suppose think of a situation where you've added a feature of payment gateway in your website, but you realize that your website was working well when you were into the older version, but it is giving you a glitch when you have added a new change to your website. So this may require you to traverse back and see what was the original code and where is the loophole through which the code is creating the issues. So you will be obviously going to the previous commit that you have made on the GitHub, and you can easily traverse back to the code which is working fine. So the Git is basically a tool which allows you to manage and track changes to files over the time. You will see what changes are you making, and based on the changes you will see what is the history of the change made in the GitHub. So let me show you one thing. So we have Git for desktop, or probably I should show it on GitHub itself. So you probably require a account on your GitHub so that you can host the code. Let's think of this repository. I have made 254 commits over here, and these are the commit histories that I can see. That I made an initial commit and then added more changes. Client remarks are updated, solution by class updated, and UI remarks were done, and fixes on a particular consent screen is done. And then we have added fixes for UI bugs. So similarly, we will have all these commits added on our GitHub. So when you want to traverse back to a particular commit, you just click over that commit hash, and you can reach over there. You can see what changes you have made inside it. So the red portion is showing that these code were removed, and red is showing green is showing that these were added into the file. So we'll talk about it in bit detail when we are working on hands-on experiences. So Git is a tool which allow you to manage and track the changes to files over the time. When you create a repository, you will see a .git directory is there into your code. It keeps track of a file's history. Yeah. So it keeps track of file history, tracks changes, and who made those changes are also there. Each version of a file is called a commit. When you are making a new version, it is called a commit, right? So when you are creating a project and by initializing through Git, you will see there will be a .git folder created over there, which will be keeping track of your repository, that what changes are making, what branches are there, the logs are there, objects are there, references are there, and then we have a working copy of the same on which you are working on a particular application. So what is repository? This is the basic folder structure of a Git repository. Now you might be wondering about what is repository. It is a collection of all the files that and the history of those files will be there. For example, I've just shown you one GitHub repository which was showing some sort of histories over there along with the time stamp that we have added over there. So which consists of all your commits, a place where all your handwork is stored. Whatever you are making changes, you are adding new features, you are removing the bugs, you are fixing the bugs. These all will be logged over there. The structure of the repository lies upon the four parts. The very first part is known as working directory. This is the working directory. Yeah, this part is a working directory in which you are actually making the changes. Your code, your original code base, your assets will be there. And the second part is staging area or the index. Staging area is when you are making changes. Uh, Initially, GitHub will not be able to track all the changes that you are making to the files. For that, you need to take you need to take your file to a staging area so that Git could track what changes are being made on that particular file, and it will show all the version of that file into the GitHub. So we need some sort of staging area. We will move our file from working directory to the staging area, and then once we are having all the files in our staging area, then all the GitHub will keep track of the changes that we are making in the file. The third is local repository, which is your GitHub, which will keep track of logs, which will keep track of all the file settings, configurations. Your Git ignore will discuss all about in coming slides. So this local repository is nothing but this GitHub repository. And then we have a central repository, that is the main project where which is residing on the remote system. And a copy with every team should have your local repository when they are getting pull of your code. We'll discuss about push and pull as well. So these are the basic commands related to Git repository. Let me show you how to add. You may need some sort of Visual Studio code, and then into your Visual Studio, you can open the integrated terminal, right? And here, first of all, you need to check whether your system has Git installed or not. So to check that, you will be querying like Git -v. So it is showing 2.46.2. Right, this is already installed. So you can install it by navigating to particular GitHub. Sorry, not GitHub. Install Git downloads. That is gitscm.com. Choose your platform. In my case, it is Mac OS. Then, with the help of Preview, you can install it. Preview install it, or Mac ports you can install through it. Right. So I have installed through this command. We should already have Preview installed in our system, and then you can execute this command to have Git running on your own system. So Git -v will give you the version of the same, which will ensure that Git is already working. Right. So here, before moving further, you will be requiring the configuration of that file. So that configuration file is git. The command for the same is, let me show you the command. Yeah, this is the command. Git minus version will check the version of the Git currently installed, and then git config hyphen global. You can set your username and email through which the rest of the developers can know who is the developer who is making the changes in the file. So you can do it sudo git config global. So you need global keyword over here so that we can set the configuration globally to any project, not to a specific project. So then user dot name equal to, so this is the name that you need to store into the global configuration. Sorry, there's a typo. Config. Yeah. So this username is set, and then you need to set the email as well. Right. This email is set. Now, while working on a code, your code base will be tracking that this email, the code is being updated through this email. You need not to set this multiple times, only once, and your code will be tracked through GitHub using this. So let's create a repository, local repository first. You can create a repository with the command like mkdir. Let's call it as git demo. Right. Now we have a git demo installed over here. Go to this git demo using cd command. Once we are onto it, we can execute command like sudo git init. Right. It will say using master as the name of your initial branch. The default branch name is subject to change. To configure the initial branch name, you use all in of your repositories, which will suppress the warning. Call this you by default. The master branch name is named with the main. Here, your master branch is name. Master branch is one on which you will be working, the main folder on which your actual code will be pushed and will be hosted over your deployment. And here we have this git init. Through git init, we will be having. Let's see what are the contents of this folder using ls command. ls is showing nothing, means we don't have any file in it. But actually, when you are running the command sudo git init, it will have created one folder that is called git. So you can extract that folder through git ls minus a. Minus a will show you the hidden folders as well. So minus dot git folder is already hidden. Yeah. So here you can see that dot git is there. Git, like I have shared in the ppt, that git will contain all these folders. And let's open the folder through Visual Studio Code. Is opening. We have created here the folder. One second, it is opening. So while it is opening, yeah, it is opened, I guess. While it is opening, we can go through this. So we discussed about Git repo structure, and then we have seen this command git minus minus version will tell you that what version of Git is installed onto your system. And git config hyphen hyphen global, when you are setting user dot name, it will actually set the username and an email for the developer who is actually working on the current working copy of the same. And git init will initialize the repository. it will install. It will start having the .git folder inside your project, which will keep track of all the files that you are adding into the staging area. Okay. So git init command is clear. These two commands are clear, which will setting up the configuration variables like name, email, and name of the repository. Will take a bit of time because the system is bit processing. So we'll talk about git check status while working. While it is opening, we can have, yeah. So we have created one folder that is called git demo. Okay, and then we'll see the terminal. Let's create a file over here that is called index.js. Okay. So here we have created one file that is index.js, and let's write a simple JS code that is console.log hello world. Right, simple code that was just written. There's nothing dangerous. I have written the code. I've just created a one file that is called index.js, and when you execute like sudo git status, it will show you that the current status of your GitHub repository, that is you are on the master branch. You have not made any commit. Untracked files are index.js. So currently your index.js file is there. Git is able to understand, but Git cannot uh, track what changes are you making onto that particular file. So if you want to make changes onto that particular file, you want Git to understand that what changes are you making into that particular file, you will requiring index.js to be there in the staging area. So to add the index file into the staging area, the command is sudo git add then index.js. Right now we have seen that index.js is added into the staging area. Staging area, here we have like let me show you what is the staging area. We will have this local repository, let's suppose, and then we will have, sorry, this remote repo or git. Probably this is git, and then inside your local repo, when you are adding a new changes, it will go into the staging area. The bridge between local repo and the git is known as staging area. So the data will move from local repo to staging area, when you are running this command, the command should be sudo git add and then the file name, right? So this is what I have done. And once you are done, the file will move on to the staging area so that Git can track what changes you are making into it. So the moment I have added sudo git add index.js, previously it was saying that the file is untracked file. So now you need to check sudo git status. It will give you the same on master branch, that is on the main branch. No commit yet, changes to be committed, and new file is added into the staging area on that is called index.js. It is added onto the staging area. Now, when you are making changes, let's suppose I have written another console, then another console. After adding these changes, uh, you will probably sudo git commit. You will commit these changes to the GitHub. That these changes are done from your side. Now I am pushing it to the GitHub so that we can track the versioning of the changes that we are making. So sudo git commit, then -m added 3 console logs. So what this command will do, sudo git commit -m added 3 control logs. Commit means we are committing whatever changes that we have done in index.js to GitHub so that it can create a one copy or can maintain the version of the same that we are currently working on. So when you press enter, it will show added 3 console logs. 3 console log means the message that I have given to here when I am committing something into the GitHub. So this is the meaningful message. This should be the meaningful message as a best practice when you are making a new change. So that other users or the other developers who are collaborating with you can understand what functionality or what feature that you have added into the GitHub. So I did 3 console logs is there, one file changed, one insertion is there. So this is what we have done. Now when you execute sudo git status, it will show that modified file is index.js. When it was not there in the staging area, it should not track that what file is being modified. Now it is able to show that index.js is modified being into the staging area. Now when you log sudo git log, it will show you that added 3 console logs are there and who is the author who has made changes. So it is showing that Ravi Sethi with this email ID. This is the change that we have made in the configuration when we were adding, and then the changes were showing up over here along with the author and the date. At what time the author has made the changes. So I hope you are understanding. Any doubt so far? Just let me know if you are still having any doubt so far. Please tell me if you have any issue.
There is no question. I feel till now everybody is able to understand everything. Okay, there comes a question.
Yeah.
Hardik is asking what is sudo.
Sudo, yeah, good question. So usually we will not use sudo when you are running the Git on your Windows. Since I'm using MacBook Air, so it requires permissions when we are making any changes onto the file or the system. So sudo means switch user. So sudo is one which is here intentionally added to provide permissions before executing the command. When you are using Windows, you do not need to have a sudo before any command that you are using. Like if I'm running it without sudo, git sudo log, it will give me that this will be added. But when we are adding some changes like git add -m, so it will give you detected dubious ownership in the repository, right? Or it will give some issues that you are not permitted to execute this command. That is why. we have to add sudo. When you are running it onto your Windows, it may be not required because Windows does not support sudo. All the commands will be executed without sudo command. So no doubt so far. So sudo git log, we were talking about this command. This command will show you this information that commit was made onto this repository with this hash code. What is this hash code? This hash code is a unique hash code which will recognize the latest commits that we are making onto your Git within each version of your system. So this will recognize the version of one of the code that you have made. So let's suppose I have created another file over here, demo.js. Now, if I'm making changes, console.log, this is a demo file, right? Now, when you run sudo git status, right? So, in that case, it will be showing that index.js was modified. However, demo.js is untracked. I have to make it. One second, let me put my desktop onto the charging. Give me a moment, ma'am.
No issues. For students, by the time sir is putting up the device on the charge, I would like to ask you a question. Sorry.
Yeah, ma'am, you can proceed.
Okay, I think sir is back, so we can continue with the session, and I can ask you the question later on.
Of course. So the moment we have executed this command sudo git status, it will show you that you have made changes in index.js, but the demo.js is still untracked. So can somebody tell me that how can I move the demo.js to Git so that the Git should recognize the start tracking the changes made into the demo.js? Can anybody answer? If you're able to answer that, how can I move demo.js to staging area so that it can track the changes? That will be great. Any answers? Push. Right. We have not reached to the push as of now. So to have demo.js into our staging area, we will do like sudo git add the name of the file, that is demo.js. Sudo git add. Okay. Now your Git will be able to understand that files are in tracking area. Now modified new file is added into the staging area, that is called demo.js. Got it? And we have modified index.js. So when we are making changes, we have to commit this demo file onto the staging area as well. So coming back to now, I hope you understand what is staging area. So this command is clear. This is clear. Git status is clear. It will tell you all the statuses, that who is the user who is making changes, what is the current status. We are on currently on master branch. Changes to be committed yet. We have made changes into the demo.js file, but we have not committed the change. However, the change for index.js is modified and has been committed to the GitHub. It is a master branch. To have the demo.js to commit, what we'll do? What is the command to commit the changes for demo.js? That is sudo git commit -m. Then the message added demo.js file. A meaningful message should be there, and then hit enter. So it will be saying that one file change, one is inserted, created a mode this, and then now you see the status. It will show that on branch master change is not staged for commit. We have already added one file, that is index.js is modified. No change added. So this is what we have into the GitHub. Sudo git log. This command will tell you till now we have made two commits. This commit was initial made, added 3 console log, and this commit was made later on when we have added demo.js file. So each commit that we are making onto the GitHub will be having a unique hash code, which will be uniquely identify each commit so that user can track or navigate from one change to another change without hassle when required. Right. So Git status is clear to see the current status. Git add is clear to add the file into the demo area. Now working with Git, the important command is git commit -m message. This is the command which will send the files to the Git which are committed. It will be creating a copy of that file in, as a version of the same, and add files to track git add minus git add dot. Yeah, this is another command. Previously we have seen that we did git add demo.js to add it into the staging area. Now let's suppose think of the situation when you have a lots of files. To add lots of files, you will not be going to add one by one. To add all the files together, we will be using git add dot. This will be adding all the files onto the staging area, right? And then add files to track is the this command we will be using. So we have seen that sudo git log, it will show you the commit, the author, and the date. Any doubts so far? No doubts? Okay, great. So moving on to the further commands, we will have git status. Git status will tell you the current status of the file. Now we'll talk about git head. So head means if we are executing this command, head is a pointer which will tell that on which branch you are currently in, on which commit you are currently in. So let's suppose I want to branch from one version to another version. Previously, I was on index.js, which was having 3 console logs, and now I have added demo.js file, which is having only one console. But later on, I realized when we were having only index.js file, the code was working fine. So I will move on to this branch, or I will move on to this version. To move on to this version, the command is checkout, git checkout hash code. So you can use like sudo git checkout, then hash code, this hash code. Copy the hash code and paste. See here carefully what will happen now. Yeah. See, we have moved from the new version to the previous version. See, in the previous version, we were not having demo.js file. So it is removed. The file is no longer with us. We are only having index.js file. The file has been removed from this version because since we are into the uh, commit where we were having only index.js file. Now, when we want to switch back again, sudo git checkout master. The command is sudo git checkout master. Hit enter. Now it will return back all the files that we were having into the latest version. Right. Now, if you want to know on which version you are, let's go back to the previous branch again. Now we know we're having the demo.js file. Sudo git branch. Yeah, it will tell you that you are on to the master branch only, where the head at this number is detached. Means we are onto the another head where we were not having the last commit. So move on to the main branch again. It was previously detached. Now the head is again attached. To see the front branch, we are onto the master branch with no detached head as well. Now, to create a multiple branch, we will be using git branch to see which branch we are on to. Git branch, let's suppose I want to create another branch over here. Sudo git branch. Let's suppose I have another team working on the same code. So I will be requiring another branch that is called dev. Now we have two branches. One is master branch and one is dev branch. So just check the branch that you are currently on. See, you are currently on master branch. To check out to the dev branch, the command is sudo git checkout, the name of the branch. So we'll be executing this command sudo git checkout. The name of the branch is dev. Now we have switched from index my main branch to the master branch. To check the status, execute the command sudo git branch. It will show you the pointer. That pointer is on dev branch. Right. Now start making changes into the demo.js file. Console.log changes made into demo.js for dev branch. On dev branch. Another change made on dev branch. Right. So when you run sudo git status, it will show you that one second. So it will show you that two files are modified, demo.js and index.js. These two files are modified. Now, if you want to commit, you can just run the command sudo git commit -m added changes in demo file for dev branch. Just hit enter. Right. So when you're running sudo git log, it will show you that these logs are there. Okay. So this will show you on which branch you are currently in sudo git branch. So you are onto the dev branch. So let's suppose if I want to move on to the master branch again, the command should be sudo, this is merge, but if I want to move to the master branch, the command is sudo checkout git checkout master. Now we are onto the master branch. Right? And when you're running sudo git status, it will show you that you are onto the master branch. Right? This is how we can work independently on every branch. So somebody has asked a question how to confirm you are on which branch. Yeah, the command should be sudo git branch. So when you are executing this command sudo git branch, this pointer will be into the front of the branch where you are currently in. Right? You are into the master branch. Right? I hope it is clear. So checking the status and committing new file, you can do it through sudo git status on branch. You can create a new branch over there. Let's suppose I want to create another branch over here by moving into the dev branch. cd dev, sorry, not cd dev, sudo git checkout then dev. ठीक है, इस फाइल में आ गए. Then after that we have to create another branch sudo git branch. The convention should be the name of the developer. Let's suppose the name of the developer is Aman slash. He has added new feature like authentication. Hit enter. Now you will execute this command sudo git branch. It will show you you are into the dev branch. Yeah, so we have now created, we were into the dev branch, and inside dev branch, we have created another sub branch that is called Aman slash authentication. So this is another branch which is getting out from dev. So that is called a multiplication of the branches. So now to move on to the Aman branch, we will have to run the command sudo git checkout Aman slash authentication. Now we have switched to Aman slash authentication to check which branch you are onto. Sudo git branch. So you are onto this branch as of now. So let's create a new file and name it as new.js. Added new changes, new.js. Right. Add it to the folder. Sudo git add new.js. Now it is added for the staging area. Sudo git status. Changes to be committed, new file we have to commit, and these changes are already made. So sudo git commit -m added new file. So one file is added. Now switch back to the previous version. Check out that. So here you may see that when we have switched from uh, Aman slash this authentication branch to dev, the new file is removed. We are not having the new file anymore. So we are just having these files. Sudo git status will tell you that you are onto the branch dev. These changes are there. Now the file that we have created new.js is removed. To get back the same file again, you have to switch to the branch that we have just created using sudo git checkout aman slash authentication. Now you will able to see that new file is back onto the area. Sudo git checkout master or checkout origin is not there. Main. Now we are onto the master again. See, master does not have new file, but dev is having a new file. Now what needs to be done so that we can take the new file to the master as well? So we have to merge the branches again. To merge the branches, the command is sudo git merge gagan slash multiply. That was the previous branch. Now, if I would want to do this on our area, we have to first switch sudo git checkout dev. We are onto dev. Now merge the branch sudo git. The command is merge. Merge which branch we have created? Slash sorry aman slash authentication. So when we merge, you may see that index file is back onto dev area where we are making the changes. Then sudo git checkout master. While moving into the master, the file is again moved. We are no longer having new file over here. Why? Because the branch was merged with from aman slash authentication to dev branch, but not to the main branch. So this is done when you are working on a particular project and your colleagues are working on separate module or separate feature. This will ensure that no code should be conflicted. Every developer working on that folder should have their own independent working copies, and you are not aware about the code that another developer is working on. So when everything is done, when new features are added on, you have to merge back to the actual branch when everything is tested. So then similarly, we have merged with the aman slash authentication to dev branch. We will merge the dev branch now to the master branch. Sudo git merge dev branch. Yeah. Now the moment we have merged it, it will show you all three files into the master branch. Sudo git branch. You will see you are onto the master branch and are able to see all the changes that we have made either on your dev branch or aman slash authentication branch. Sudo run sudo git log. It will show you the three commits that we have made. In the initial commit, we have added three logs. Second commit, we have added demo.js file. In third commit, we are having a new file. Now think about the scenario where you want to move on to the second commit, where new file was not there. So for that, you can move within that particular branch using sudo git checkout, then the hash code that we have added. Just click enter. Now we don't have new over here, right? When you're running this command sudo git checkout, and run sudo, you will run sudo git status. It will show you that head is detached at this, and sudo git log will tell you are on which sorry, sudo git branch will tell you that head is, although you are on the master branch, but head is detached. So you have to move on to back to the current pointer or current head that you are pointing to by just having sudo git log check which was the current latest branch when you were added the new file. It was this head. New file was added over this. Now you can move sudo git checkout. Right. The head is added back. We have a new file over here. Any questions so far? Like on Windows, we are not using sudo, then simply git status. Yes. So dev, you are asking what is dev? Dev is nothing but it's the name of the branch that we are working on. So think about the situation where multiple users are working on the same code base, but you do not want some other user to interfere on your code. What will they do? They will just create their own branch that is called dev branch, and they will keep working on their own copy. So when they are done with the changes, you have tested the changes. Now you can merge the feature added by them to your onto your master branch. So this is how we create a dev branch. So head is the pointer I've shown over here. So head is the pointer to currently checked out branch or commit. You can move on to the commit. As you can see, when you're running the command, when you are running the command sudo git log, you will see there are three commits made over here. First commit initial code, second commit when we have added demo.js file, and third commit when we have added a new file over there. So let's suppose you want to move on to this branch. So the currently the head is this. This is the head. It is saying that currently the git is pointing to the latest commit. The head will keep on moving when you are moving, when you are committing the new changes onto your GitHub folder. So it will keep on moving. So now let's suppose I'm making a new change, console.log demo of head in Git. Right now, sudo git log, sudo git status. You can see the file head detached at this, right? These are the three commits. You are currently in the new file. Move the demo to commit sudo git commit -m, right? Or sudo git add. So changes are added. Now you may see in demo.js file we have added demo of git. Now when you run sudo git log, it will show you all the commits. Added demo file, added new file, added demo file. The three logs are there. So instead of this head, when we are trying to moving on to this head, you will added sudo git checkout, then the name of the hash here onto this. So here you can see we are currently the head is this. When we have added new file, the demo was nothing, right? And now if I want to check out again to the latest commit, sudo git checkout, You may see that changes are back with your files when you are checking out to the latest commit. Any questions so far? Great. So we have seen how we can move on to particular branch and how we can switch from one version to another version by making a changes into an original commit. Sudo git checkout master will take you to the origin of the GitHub, that is the latest branch, and then branch is used to move on to the multiple locations. So here, if I want to create a multiple branches, we just move on to the particular branch. Let's suppose we want to move on to the dev branch. You will run sudo git checkout dev, and inside that dev you will create another branch, that is given slash multiply. So it will create a sub branches like this. Let me show you by creating a diagram. Let's suppose this is your master branch. Inside master branch, you have created a one branch that is called dev. Dev branch is created. Now, again, when you are creating a new branch, you are actually creating into this. Gagan slash uh, authentication. If I want to create another branch over here, it will be multiplied and will be created. So this branch is associated to dev, and then when you merge these two, the code will be merged, and then eventually we will have to merge these two into master branch. Then you will be able to merge all the latest codes into it. Any doubts so far? Great. So this is how we merge the branches using git merge, then the name of the branch that you want to actually merge from the child branch to the parent branch. It will show you the console log in your git logs. You will be able to see that what is the current head of the branch that you are currently into it. So the next concept is git ignore. Uh, the sensitive files like env files or secret files are usually placed into the local copy of your GitHub repository and should not be pushed onto your host remotely, which is sensitive and should be secured onto the local file only. So for that, we have one command that is called git ignore. So when you are running the command git add to include what will be committed, it will be showing that nothing will be added to commit, but untracked file will be present. So for that, let's create a new file. To create a new file for ignore, we will just move on to it and then press new. Add the name of the file, that is dot git ignore. Just note the naming convention. It should start from dot and name should always be git ignore. Do not have a custom name. Dot is one which is recognizing that the file is hidden and should not be visible to the rest of the users. So git ignore will allow you to secure your files which should be uh, hidden from outside the world remotely and should be there into your local copy only. Let's suppose I'm creating a new file which is called secret.js. It should have a password or some other sensitive data. So when the files are there, uh, when you are executing this command sudo git status, it will show you that two files are added, git ignore and secret.js. However, I do not want the git to watch my secret.js file. So what I will do, just move on to your git ignore and add the file name here. secret .js, right? We have added into the git ignore. Now sudo git status will remove that file onto the environment of the GitHub. So it is removed. You will not be able to track the changes you are making into secret will not be logged here, right? And when you execute it, it will not show you anything because we want some files to be there into the local copy only and it should not be moved from your local to remote files. Any doubts in git ignore? Great. So let me move on to the next uh, folder. So secret.js file is added and git ignore, and we have successfully seen that the secret file is no longer available for GitHub to track. Then we have seen how Git is working. Now there is an illusion in some of the users that they think the Git and GitHub is one and the same thing, but that is not true. Git is different, GitHub is different. So GitHub is basically owned by Microsoft, which hosts GitHub repositories online. So this repository that you have just created is there in your local environment, and all the versions of the GitHub changes that you are making in is being tracked locally. However, if you want other users to collaborate with you, you will have remote repository to be hosted on online on GitHub. So GitHub is one which is owned by Microsoft and which takes care of GitHub repositories online. It helps users share their GitHub repository online with other users or access it remotely. You can also host a public repository for free on the GitHub. So the GitHub is a remote repository in which you can host your local repository. The local is one on which we are working on, and the remote is one on which is there on the GitHub. So and a place to collaborate with the others. So this is the repository. This is the local machine of all the users. You can push, pull. This command will be working remotely. Push and pull will not work locally, but when you are hosted it on GitHub, push and pull will start on working on. So to host the GitHub on, to host your GitHub repository on GitHub file, you just have a account over here. First, go to your GitHub account. If you are not having account, you have to create that. And after creating, click on new here. Add the repository name same as the one you are working locally. That is called Git demo. Git demo. G capital D capital. So make it public. Okay. So now we have Git demo here onto our GitHub. So now to move your Git repository to GitHub, the commands are given here. First of all, you have to commit everything. Then the command is git remote add origin. Git remote add origin and then the URL. So this origin is added onto your local GitHub repository. After adding, you just need to run this command to push everything onto the online repository. The command is sudo git push -u origin main. Sudo git push once again. Sudo git branch. Okay, we have to move on to the master branch first. Sudo using this command sudo branch minus m main, sudo git branch minus m main, sorry, not minus m, we can use checkout, sudo git checkout, then you are onto the head, sudo git checkout master. Now you will be able to see that you are onto the master branch. Now everything is fine. We have to run that command to push everything. Yeah. So we have pushed everything onto the GitHub now from Git to GitHub. Reload it. 1 second. I think we should have merged everything as well. The code is committed. Let's see the status of the Git repository. Sudo git status. We added one file, sudo git commit minus m. First of all, add all the files, then commit minus m, files added to git, and one file added, and then sudo git push, and then set stream main master. It does not go to be git repository. So this is how we add the commands. Let me check why it is not added. I have added already one for you. There might be a glitch into it. So we'll be running this command, and to add the files, sudo git remote add origin. Then we have to add the origin of the remote repository. Just add the password and remote. Run this command git remote minus v, sudo git remote minus v. It is showing nothing because we don't have anything to be added into the GitHub repository. So move on to the repository that we just created. Add this sudo. Now run. Yes. Now we have added the origin. Now you need to push everything. Remote repository. So this is where we need to push everything. Sudo git push origin. Once it is pushed, you will be able to see that you need to fetch everything from this origin and you need to push everything from this origin. So to push the code, we'll use sudo git push minus u origin main. It will push everything onto the main repository. And this is what we have learned about master branch, dev, and the authentication of the same. If you have any questions, you can ask. No questions so far.
Okay, students, do you have any questions?
So you're saying git push minus u region main. So no questions.
So
Okay.
no questions? All right. If you have no
Hardik, you see.
questions, I would say that we can end up the session.
Hardik, you have any questions?
Git push your region now. Okay, I will request you again to please go through the attendance form that has been shared in the chat box. If you have not received it, I'll share it again.
Okay. Git push not running. Why? One second. One second. So somebody have the question. Git push is not running. So we have a conflicts over here. So let me move on to the specific branch to show you that why git push is not working. See here. One second. I'm sharing my screen again. I hope you're able to see my screen. So this is saying that detected dubious ownership in repository. So Git demo is having the dubious ownership due to the conflict. It is not showing this. So we have to git config global add save directory to run that. So let me try adding in. There is a problem in the repository as of now. That is why it is not adding in. Let me try some other repository first. Let's create a new folder. Right. We'll do get move on to this folder, demo folder, run sudo git init. We have initialized the repository and just open that folder over here. Once we have this folder over here, one second while it is opening. Okay. So now add a new file over here, demo.js. There is a problem in it. There were some permission issues in the previous folder. That is why it was not moving to the remote. Let me create a new file over here, demo.js, and just run console.log the world and Anybody can tell me how to add it in the staging area? Sudo git add, then dot will add everything into the staging area. So sudo status, sorry, sudo git status will show you that we have not made any commit. However, the file is into the staging area. So we have to commit sudo git commit minus m demo changes. Right. So one file is added. Sudo git status. So and sudo git log will show that one commit is already there. So we have to create a repository over here onto the GitHub folder first. The repository should be onto the should be having the same name as the local copy you have. So demo folder, create repository. The command is we've already committed the changes. The branch is already main, and then we will add this command over here using sudo. Yeah, it is added. Now check whether it is added or not using this command that is called git remote minus v. So git remote minus v. So it is there to fetch and push. So just take a note that we cannot run it before use with sudo without sudo only. Then once we have this fetch and push, we just need to push everything onto the code using sudo git remote add, and then move on to the main branch sudo branch minus and main. Right. Sorry. Sudo git branch minus m main. Previously it was not adding because we were onto somewhere onto some other head and were not onto the main branch. And after having this, we can run sudo git push minus u origin main minus sorry, sudo git push and then minus u origin main. Okay, all right. So everything is onto the repository now. When you move on to this folder, execute this, you will be able to see that demo.js file is over here. Got it? Console log is there, what we have just made. So previously we were just having the issues along with sudos. Some files were added through sudo, some file was not added through sudos, and then the main command should be added before pushing into the main. That was sudo git branch minus m main. We have to go to the main after merging everything, and then once we are onto the main branch, only then you should be able to execute this command, push command, which should be there sudo git push minus u region main. Yeah, that's all. If you have any further queries, you can ask.
Okay, students, it's a just reminder call for everyone to put up your attendance, fill up the attendance form that has been shared in the chat box. I think maximum of you have not filled it. There are so many students who have not filled it. Please fill the feedback form. It will be very beneficial for you because maybe in the coming time we'll look forward to have more such sessions. And as you all, I think this session was a commendable session for everyone. We learned a lot of things from this session. And if you want these sessions to be more conducted, so I would request you to please fill up the feedback form and send it.
One other question I can see that what is the meaning of minus u origin main?
Right.
So what we can achieve by this? Okay. So while you are pushing everything, minus u origin main means the code that you are pushing should be originated from your master device, master branch. Everything should be merged onto the master branch only. So minus u origin main is the part and the parcel of the command when you are pushing everything on the first time from your local repository to your remote repository.
So if you want to move into push it onto some other repositories, you can push through the name of the branch. However, in the initial commit or initial push, will be requiring minus u origin main only. That's all.
So there is a one question Manveer Singh has asked. How do you revert a commit that has already been pushed and made public?
How do we?
Revert a commit that has
How
already been
do
pushed and made public.
so we can yeah. So we can reverse a commit by just moving on to that particular head and can uh, stash that particular commit from the origin itself. So the command is 1 second. Are you able to see my screen?
We are not able to see the screen. Sir, I think you have not shared the screen.
Okay, 1 second. Let me. The one command was when we are making a new changes. Let's suppose a new file is changed over here, and then you will run sudo git status. This is modified. Now you have to commit sudo git commit minus m new change made type. Then when you sorry you have to add this first sudo git add minus dot and then commit new change made. So when you move on to this window, GitHub demo folder, you will be able to see that one commit was previously made and we have to make another commit is made. Now we have to push everything again. Yeah. So it is pushed. When you refresh, you will be able to see that two changes are made over here. First commit and second commit. Once you are committing, the change will not be done. But you have to push again using sudo git commit minus u origin main. That means you are pushing into the main branch only. Right. Now, if we want to reset a particular commit, so the command is sudo git reset. Right. Second, check out. First of all, check sudo git log. We have made a new change over here. The previous commit was here. So check out. Okay. So here you can see once we are onto this branch or commit, the previous code is already removed. Now we are onto this branch. To reset the changes, what we need to do, we have to give a particular command. Let me check the reset command. Previous commit. So the previous commit, we should have the commit IDs over here. Git checkout, we have already checked out, and then it should be unpublished. However, to execute, we will run this command git reset hard and the name of the branch itself. 7b9 9E059. So there might be an issue because we have to make the changes onto our local copy first, and then we need to make these changes. We'll work on this and we'll update you more on the resetting the previous commits. Definitely, right? Anything else apart from resetting the commit?
I think there is no question. And maximum of the students feel satisfied with the session.
Ma'am, we will also share the written material for this. You can share with the students for more
Okay, sir.
information so that they
Definitely.
can go
Because
through
there
it.
are some students who are asking for the PPT. So I thought that I should ask you first. Only then we can provide them.
Okay. I will be providing you a detailed PDF for the same along with the commands how to revert to the previous commits.
Okay, fine. Okay, sir. I think students, you don't have any other question. So you can put up the feedback in the form also, or you can give the feedback to the sir that how was the session. You can put up in the text chat box. See, I was totally a non-IT person, so this was really a new experience for me. So as a resource person, I was learning a lot of new things regarding GitHub. So I just want to have a question with you all. So as the session is over, so how would you describe GitHub or Git now after the session? Okay. Right. Do you feel it's a lifesaver, still confusing, but better than before? Or do you feel it's slightly less scary? Or do you feel it's I need more practice? So this was a very like basic and all of things were mentioned,
Yeah, you will be
but
able
still,
to understand while practicing more on the same.
right. And definitely they need to do this by today itself. So today you have a motivation. So we will calling up the sir again only if you feel that okay, there is a challenge and we have been working on it. At least we have done our best. Now we need sir to come back and give us a session. Okay? Because the next session will be a kind of intermediate or maybe the advanced level of it. Okay, Hardik, thank you. So maximum students are stating that they need more practice and they feel it's a lifesaver. I would like to share the answers to sir also. You can see the answers. All right. So let's take this moment to thank our resource person. So I would like to take the privilege on behalf of Center for Distance and Online Education, Lovely Profession University. We extend a heartfelt thank you to all the participants for joining today for this masterclass, Mastering Git and GitHub from Basics to Best Practices. A special vote of thanks to our esteemed resource person, Mr. Gagandeep Sethi, for delivering a highly engaging and insightful session. Your expertise and approachable teaching style truly made complex concepts easy to grasp and inspired our learners to explore Git and GitHub with confidence. All our attendants, thank you for your active participation, the curiosity, and the energy. I would suggest you all to, if you have any question in between the session, keep on asking the question in between so resource person can help you out by the end of the session. So still in between also we would require some snippets of the questions. So we hope the learning today adds a value to your academic as well as your professional growth. We look forward to welcoming you to more such enriching sessions in the upcoming time. Until then, keep learning, keep growing with the Center for Distance and Online Education, Lovely Professional University.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a privilege for us.
Same, here, ma'am. It was a nice and interactive session. All students are really curious about the technology. Some were asking really good questions. So I hope I have already clarified everything. But the points which are not clarified, I'll share the PPT and clarify through those. Right.
No issue, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.